Hey, what's going on, everybody? And I am back from Laos. First of all, I just want to thank all the new followers and everyone for supporting my little travel vlog journey throughout my time out in Laos for the last 21 days. Wouldn't have been able to done it without you guys and your support and constantly telling me that you would like to see more and inspiring me to create more just like that. I just wanted to make this video to go over some of the little things that I experienced in Laos. Over the course of 21 days, I only spent, at most I'd say, around $800 USD. Some of the most important items that I bought were probably a pay-as-you-go phone and just basic living for the hotel. I usually stayed in hotels that just provided me with the essentials of what I needed, which was basically just a bed, a restroom, and Wi-Fi. Let's talk about my budgeting for this trip. I brought $1,000 USD for this adventure, hoping that it would last till as long as I could make it last. When we arrived, it was actually surprising how far the US dollar goes. I actually budgeted of only spending around $800 or less for the course of the 21 days that I was there. One of the most important things that I needed out there was a working cell phone. Something with data so I can roam or even do a hotspot, such things like that. And to me, it was surprisingly cheaper to just get a burner phone out in Laos than it was to continue my international data roaming plan. I believe it was like $15 for every megabyte spent while I was data roaming, so I chose to just invest that into a burner phone to use with a pay-as-you-go plan. I picked up a simple Samsung Galaxy A03 cell phone for about $89 USD. And then I bought a mobile phone data plan for about $20 with that. That mobile phone data plan was unlimited, so I basically had what I need while I was out there. Working data plan to be able to use my cellular phone while I was having my adventures. Other than that, hotel accommodations were, I'd say, averaged around $6 a night at the hotel every night for the last 21 days, as well as spending about $3 per meal, $3 to $5 per meal, depending on how much I wanted to eat or how much was available at the time for me to eat. And then I spent a lot of my money on basic gifts, souvenirs, and going out and just exploring the nightlife out there. So I also spent my days accordingly. Throughout, day 1 and 2 were when we first arrived into the capital. And from there, day 3 through 14 were probably out in Phonsavan, or the Samquan province out in Laos. After that, I would say day 14 through 18 were spent in Luang Prabang. And then from day 19 through 21, I spent in the capital of Vientiane. And also but only on the outer city known as Phonsavan, or they kept calling it Market 52. So I got to experience a lot while I was out there as well. Let's first talk about Phonsavan, or the Samquan province, since I spent most of my time there. So from day 3 through 14, I spent in the Samquan province. I was able to see natural sights, such as the Plain of Jars, the Buddhist statue. There were plenty more that I wanted to see out there, but just didn't have the time to see. What we spent most of our time doing was visiting relatives within the local village, helping them out as much as we could, as well as spending as much time as we could with them. It was actually really interesting. My first week spent that in the Samquan province. They did a hoopli for us, as well as a oneng ka for us as well. Those are just pretty much blessing ceremonies, wishing good fortune onto your family. During the hoopli, when they butchered the water buffalo for us, I saw that a lot of people within the village gathered around to help out and chop the meat and cook the food, and everyone got to eat a part of it. And it was just really interesting to see just how many people were involved in this type of event. I had said in my vlog, but I'll tell you here, I tried cow poop soup for the first time, which was pretty much just like the insides of the small intestines and the bile mixed into their peppers and their hot pot into a certain soup that you would taste. And with my experience of it, it wasn't that bad. It actually just tasted like grass. But now I know how cow poop soup tastes, and I'll tell you this, it's not the most appetizing thing to look at. Now, the other thing I saw out there were the harsh living conditions for the Hmong people in that village. They didn't have most of their essential needs, as well as inability to the medical care that they deserve. Recalling it, I believe during the hoopli that they had did for us, there was actually a funeral happening just a little down the street. What had happened was, I guess there was a woman who was bit by a dog with rabies, and she was not given the proper care that she needed. She wasn't taken to a hospital because it was too far for them to take care of her for, and she had passed away just recently as well. It was very surprising to see how their roads are nowhere similar to our roads. They're made out of dirt. All these villagers' homes are just made of sticks and stones. Most homes' only electricity was an extension cord that plugged into a hanging light bulb. Nothing else than that. Everyone's restrooms were outhouses that were planted on the outside of the homes. Their stoves and ovens were lit by literal pieces of wood put together in order to start a fire for a certain amount of time. It was really surprising to see how much of the old ways were still being used in our current time. It seems really hard for them to get out of their current situation to live a better life. All in all, I appreciated so much of what they did for me. For people who had so little, and to be able to give us so much was something surprising to see. Every single house we visited, every single family we visited had a traditional way of setting a full table full of food for us to eat. There would be a time where we would greet people, and then we'd walk into their homes and you'd see a table set with food all around for everyone to sit down and have a small little conversation. And it was like that for multiple people in multiple places. I think we went to like 3 or 4 homes back to back, and every time we had to eat a plate of food. It got to the point where I was only able to eat spoonfuls of food and got sick of eating boiled pork. Other than that, I really did appreciate my time in the Hmong Village. It really changed my perspective of how I live my daily life and how I should be appreciating more of the moments that I have, and how my parents were able to get out of that situation and bring us into where I currently am today. If you guys have any questions about the villages or such things like that, go ahead and post them down below for me to read. That way I can get back to them in another video.